Well, howdy ChemComm students. This is Mr. Dawkin. I'm going to do a quick video over the mole. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe at home. Please feel free to reach out and contact me if you ever have questions. Some of you have already done that, but I'm always open to help. I know I haven't been able to be on webcam a whole lot. That's because I have a study hall during my 5th period, which is my dedicated time to helping you guys out. But if you ever need me, message me, email me, and I'd love to get back to you, okay? And if you really need to speak with me, then let's go ahead and set up a time to video conference. All right, so we're going to talk about the mole in this video, and then I'm going to create another video talking about the periodic table. So the mole is just a way of classifying chemical substance. It measures the amount of chemical substance. A mole is one of the 7 base units that we have, so I'm going to write a couple more on the screen. We've seen meters, we've seen liters for volume, we've seen grams for mass, seconds for time. We can have other things like hertz for frequency. We can have joules for energy. So the mole fits in with one of these base units. And there are more, but these are the general 7 base units. Okay, go ahead and go down a little bit more. Just as 12 representative particles of eggs, a dozen is 12 eggs. So if I have a dozen donuts, I have 12 donuts. If I have a dozen pumpkins, I've got 12 pumpkins. If I got a dozen desks, I have 12 desks. The mole is basically like that, except the number's not 12. If we have 1 mole of something, we have 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd particles. Why do we use such a ridiculously large number? It's because we're counting things like atoms, molecules, ions, formula units, things that are ridiculously small that we cannot see, we can't comprehend with our brains. So we need a number in order to scale it up so that we can look at a number that's more reasonable for us to learn about. Okay? But we can have a mole of anything. So how big is this number? Well, it's 602 with like 21 zeros after it. And it's really, really big. In fact, it's a big freaking number. 1 mole, if we had a mole of rice grains, 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd of those, we would have the total amount of rice grown since the beginning of time, roughly. Obviously, this is an approximation. If we had a mole of marshmallows, we could cover the United States, and not only cover it, it would keep covering it and keep covering it, and it would be 600 miles deep. That's a lot. If we had a mole of basketballs, we would need a bag to hold them. The bag would have to be the size of the Earth. So this number that we're talking about is really, really large. The guy who discovered it, his name was Amadeo Avogadro, and he's responsible for coming up with this huge, huge number. It's named after him. And he did the work in order to help us scale up atoms, molecules, and formula units. So we call the mole a chemist dozen. Like we said earlier, a dozen is 12 of something. But if we have a mole, then we have 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd of them.